and welcome to today's virtual card and a cuppa. So it's our first card and a cuppa in November. This morning I was over at the Home Grange Craft Village where we all met in the cafe there, and this afternoon I'm live here with you guys. So let me just check for one instant that this is actually going out live, and I have remembered this time to turn off the sound on my laptop. It looks like it, so that's good. Right, okay, without further ado, I shall tell you about this morning's card and a cuppa. So I'll share with you first of all the kit. So everybody that came along received a kit. Fairly simple one today, but there was a lot of fussy cutting involved, and don't worry because I've already done it, so you're not going to have to sit here watching me. So we had the usual envelope. Base card is made out of thick basic white, so this is half a sheet of A4, the other half being there, so effectively it's 14.9 by 21 centimetres. So that's the size, and then it's scored at 10.5 centimetres. Now there is a piece of, and this is where I have to try and remember, it's the Graceful Greenery Vellum. So as you can see, don't normally use a lot of vellum, but I just couldn't resist these because I just love the patterns on these leaves. So it's not quite wide enough for the card front, but that's not going to be an issue. It's 10 centimetres wide, but it is more than long enough for the actual front. So there was a bit of trimming involved with that. So that will need to be done once we figured out what we're actually going to do. There were 2 strips of the green and gold, no, season of green and gold paper. So as you can see, with lots of gold on that. Very pretty. And again, some more gold on this piece as well. On the other sides, it's fairly plain. So we've got Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, and there's Mossy Meadow dots. So they had those 2 strips. And then there were 4 pieces to be die cut. So we have some pine fronds, pine needles and things, and then 3 of these. One's paper, which I actually just noticed that I obviously didn't make a very good job of trimming it, because I've just noticed that there is a piece there that I didn't trim. So let me just do that now before I forget. Otherwise I'll be sticking it on the card and it's not going to be how I wanted it. Right, so there's so that's from the green and gold paper, as is that, and then the other 2 pieces are vellum pieces that have been cut out of the same sheet as this. So there was those 4. There was also a solitary, I know, didn't let everybody go mad with the embellishments, so it's a solitary iridescent faceted gem. I don't even know if you can see that properly on my finger, but it's very, very shiny, very, I don't even know if my phone can actually, anyway, I'll give up on that. So otherwise you're just going to get a bit sick trying to focus on it. Anyway, so that was the kit that we used today. I just need to put this somewhere. I'm not going to lose it. Okay. So that was that. I also took with me ink. So I took Mossy Meadow, Garden Green and Old Olive, because all 3 of those coordinate with the paper and the vellum. I also took the Heartfelt Hexagon stamp set, because I liked these little borders. So we used, everybody had a choice of using one or other of the border. The Heartfelt Hexagon punch for cutting out, Everybody also got a scrap of basic white to stamp and punch. And then I took a few stamp sets. I even took one that had Happy Birthday on, but no one actually used it. So obviously we really are into Christmas card making season at the moment. So I took the Greetings of the Season stamp set, and I also took the Peaceful Season stamp set. They don't all fit within the confines of that shape, but I found enough that people had a good enough choice. So we used the Merry and the Christmas for one. They also had the choice of the Season's Greetings. We could have done Happy Christmas too. And then from here, Peace and Joy and Hoping This Season is Bright and Beautiful. When I say they wouldn't normally fit, you have to be careful, because when you look at the stamps on the front, you need to pay attention to the fact whether or not it tells you that the image is at 85% or some other percentage rather than 100%. If there's nothing like this particular one for the heartfelt hexagon, there's no mention of anything there. So this means that they are the actual size that you see. And obviously when it says images at 85, these are actually smaller than what you will see. So I took those three in fact, and I said, and the punch. So they went along too, cut together with some trimmers and lots of glue and all that sort of stuff, and glue dots. So actually thinking about it, glue dots. Oh, I can grab them from here, that's okay. So you probably want to know what we made. So this was the first card. Don't know why I keep thinking there's something inside, but there isn't. So the vellum was just trimmed so that it actually fitted on three sides. There is a gap on this side, but it's hidden by that strip of paper. So I'm going to put the vellum on first, and I simply glued it just by running a bead of glue down this side here, because that's going to be hidden. As most of you know, glue and vellum, quite often if you put lots of glue underneath, you will be able to see it through the vellum. So I avoided that by simply putting it down that side. I stamped my border and my sentiment onto some basic white and then punched them out. And then the pieces that I fussy cut are simply glued onto the card front, and this is added using dimensionals. And then the other piece was used to go on the inside. There were 4 of these pieces, so the 4th one I've put on my envelope, so I've used it to decorate that. So it's basically glue those on, and then dimensionals under that. So that was fairly straightforward. For this one, I trimmed down a bit. So the piece of vellum, I trimmed down so that it was 9.5 centimetres wide, and then 14.4 top to bottom. And then I cut it on the width. So I'm fairly certain that this is, I have to get my ruler out. Yeah, so it's 3 centimetres, 3 centimetres, which means that the one in the middle that's left over is 3.5. So, because it was easier to do that than try and get 3.33 for each of the columns. So the only tricky thing about this is making sure that when you adhere these pieces onto the card front, is that you keep these in the right order, and you've not put like that bit in the middle there, so this way you have a continuity of the image. The strip of gold simply was cut into 2 thin strips and added on the front. So again, this piece, I've only fixed it using glue running along those 2 underneath there. So again, you can't actually see it. And again, the vellum and the other image were added. This time just used garden green to stamp the sentiment and the border. So again, this is fixed on with dimensionals. Everything else is glued on. Use the strip again on the inside, and did I put that on put one on the front? Yep, I did another one on the front. So that was the second one. The third one, changed it out slightly in that I turned the card so we were making a landscape card rather than a portrait card. Again, stamped my border sentiment and then punched it all out. Fussy cut the pieces that are here, and then this piece, the vellum has simply been cut into a square, so it's 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres square, which meant that there was a bit left over. So normally it would have been another bit here, which I probably used for something else. And then on the inside we've got the strip of paper. So again, this one here, what I did was I used glue dots, and if you put the glue dots on the, and you could even use glue on the reverse side of where the images are, you won't see them through the vellum. So that's what I did. So there's a few glue dots dotted around underneath here. Put that on, glued the frondy bits, and then added that. And then, of course, on it, all three I've added the iridescent gem. And again, oh, this time, because I didn't use the gold strip, I simply added it to the envelope just to do something a little bit different rather than... So I think this has still only got 3, so yeah. So I only used 3 out of the 4 fronts. So those are the 3 cards. Slightly different looks. This one actually even has, I probably don't know if you can see it, but I've actually put some Wink of Stella on here too. So those were the 3 cards. So the question is, what am I going to do today for the 4th card? So as I said, this is all my kit for the 4th card except for the embellishment, which I can see over there. And I've got a scrap of basic white too. So I've fussy cut everything, so that's one less thing that I have to do in front of you. Got my 2 strips of paper. Now I have also grabbed, and this is what I thought I might do, I've just grabbed my 2 3/8 of an inch punch, so it's just slightly smaller than 2.5 inches. And I thought rather than just using this as a sheet, I would actually just simply punch some circles. Bear with me to 2 seconds, because if I don't do this now, I never will. So I need to remember to burnish this where I'd scored it, otherwise it's not going to lie flat. I wanted to go that way. So I'm hoping that I can get 2 circle images out of here. Yes, I can. I just need to know what bits should I have. Don't really want to have that piece. And I'm going to take a piece from here as well. So I've got those 2 circles. So I'm going to put those on. And then I am going to stamp my sentiment and my border. So this is a photopolymer stamp set, and I have to remember which bits. So the 2 borders, this one has, this is where oh no, that's the one. I put them back in the wrong place this morning. We did not use red ink, we used green ink, but somehow these have gone a little bit pink, but that's okay, it doesn't actually affect how they stamp. So if you've got a photopolymer stamped, rather than just sticking onto a block, certainly for these shapes where you've got nothing in the middle, which means that they can sort of move around a bit. If you just put it face down first onto some scratch paper, grid paper, whatever, and then just pick it up using a block. And that way, because the stamp has had a little bit of time to rest, it should fit your die or your punch, whatever it is that you've got for the coordinating item, perfectly. So I'm just going to quickly ink that up, and I'm going to stamp. Now, because these are photopolymer, it doesn't really matter if you do your image or your sentiment or your border first, because being photopolymer, you can see where you're going. Now, I can choose to keep it all the same colour or go a different colour. So I think I'm going to stamp my sentiment in green. Now, I've done a Merry Christmas, so I think I'm going to do Happy Christmas for this one. I mean, I could also turn it into a birthday card. I have enough birthdays to contend with at Christmas time. My mother's is Christmas Eve and my daughter's is Christmas Day, so... And my father, bless him, when he was alive, was Boxing Day, which is the 26th, so got a full set, basically. 24th, 25th and 26th. Makes life interesting. Right. So if you've got some grid paper, when it comes to lining up, rather than doing the words separately, if you use the grid paper to line your first word up, and then you can still see through it to line up your second word. So I've got this Christmas is basically on this line here, and the happy, this line, this line here is going through the centre of the letters. So again, I've got them sitting here, kind of look, that's there, yeah. I might need to go that way a little bit. Oh, we're going to go with that. So I've got my Happy Christmas. And I'm going to use my old olive to stamp the sentiment. Remember, because these are photopolymer stamps, it's easy, it works much better when you've got something slightly soft underneath. So I have a foam mat underneath here, under my grid paper. So that has a bit of give, and it just means that you get a nicer, crisper image, sentiment. So that's that. There we go. Punch. I'm going to punch this out. So the trick to punching is to open it and turn it upside down, so that when you put the sentiment in, you can line it up perfectly. Now, if you find that if you're being frugal with your paper or cardstock and you can't actually move this around, if you get a post-it note or sticky note and just attach it to the edge, you can then use that to move it around within the punch. So I did that all right. So I'm going to put that there, like that. So that's that and that's that. Now I've got all my image, my other pieces here. It's just a question then of playing around and deciding what you want where. Might want the darker one. Oops. Like so. Let's see now, what does that look like? I mean, I could add this somewhere, but I'm not so sure that I will. I like, I don't know, do I want to move these closer? Maybe that's what I want to do. Because the edges of the circles are going to be hidden by the by this. You can have them quite far apart if you want them, like so, or you could have them quite close together. Really up to you. Right, glue dots. So you don't need hundreds of them, you just need a couple, which is probably just as well because I just realised there's actually only one left here. So just remember to attach it on the reverse side of the coloured bit of the vellum. Right, that's that one finished. And luckily, should be able to grab one of the boxes from this morning. There we go. Got to see where I've put it so far. That one's there, so I'll put one on there. I find it easier to take the vellum to the glue dot rather than trying to pick the glue dot off the roll and then stick it to the vellum. So 3 should be enough. And let's see, I'll try and get it equal both ends. That's okay for that. Again, more glue dots. Getting confused as to where they are. Normally I was used to seeing them on here. But hey ho. That's that one. Oops. Trying not to get myself into a sticky mess here. That's 3. That should be more than enough. And again, let's see if I can vaguely get them equal. Not quite. It's very difficult to do when you don't actually have this directly in front of you. Let's see. That looks okay, I think. So then I've got my fronds that I want to put on. Now these I can just simply glue on. But what I think I might do is I might just sort of tease them and bend them a little bit just to give them some added dimension. So, and again, I could use glue dots, or I could use glue, which I'm just going to use. I don't want to put glue up the top because I want to have this frond sort of free. So that's that. And then, why is it you're always happy with it when you first put it on and then you're not so happy the next time around? But hey, let's put that one on. And as I said, I'm not too worried about these corner pieces, these edge pieces here, end pieces, because it's going to get hidden by this. So maybe I do want to move that around a bit. I've got glue everywhere. Hey. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder just to sort of give them a bit of extra dimension. So they're not looking like they're just flat. That's that. Thought that was a bit of glue. I think it might have been, but hey, it's off now. And then I need some dimensionals. And yes, I have them to hand. So I don't need too many of them. In fact, I'm only going to use 3. So 1 at the top and 2 at the sort of bottom middle. Let's see now, it's about right, I think. So that can go on there like that. Let's do that up for a second. I'm going to put my gem, I think, here. I found that again. take your pick tool, so that's that. I just need to get it off that bit of acetate. You know what, I think I might end up just using fingers, it might just end up being easier. So that can go sort of there. Hoping it was in the middle, but it's not quite. There we go. So that is that. So that's that bit of the card. Now I could, if because this has got gold and I'm not going to add any Wink of Stella, I've decided. Just going to leave it like that. I've got gold that I can put inside, or I can put this piece inside. I think I'm going to use the thinner bit. Now this is a bit longer than what I actually need, but I'm still going to put the glue on it and then I'll trim it once it's fixed inside the card. And thank goodness I did put it the right way round. Would have been a bit of a disaster if the card was upside down. Just make sure that's on the edge, which it is. Need to trim it slightly top and bottom, so I'm just going to open out the card and just give it a quick haircut top and bottom. Actually no, it just needs the top, that's it. So that's got Happy Christmas. I thought I had something that said to you and yours. Yes, I think I might do that on the inside. Probably should have done it beforehand, but given that this is basic white card, then it probably wouldn't really have mattered. Anyway, if I make a boo-boo, I make a boo-boo. I'll just end up cutting that front panel off and sticking it on another card. Let's put this on here. Be sure I've got some ink on it. There we go. So that's the middle of the card, which just leaves my envelope to do. So I've got a piece of vellum, which I could put on there, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to simply use the gold strip and put that on the envelope. Just glue that on. I tend to put it on the end opposite where the, well, it depends. If I'm stamping, I will put it the same end as where the stamp would normally go and put it in like the bottom right corner. But if I'm adding paper, I will usually just add a strip to the left hand side so it's opposite where the stamps go. Or if I've got a lot of paper, I will put it on the back of the envelope, just on the flap. That's another way. Oops, that looks like that slipped. But hey, right, I think that is it. So that is my card for today. For my virtual card and a cuppa. So, oops, I've got glue on this as well. So if I've got my glue eraser here. You don't know the number of times that I've actually sat here and just taken the glue eraser to this grid paper just to make sure things don't stick to it. That'll be enough for the time being. I just don't really want the other cards to stick to it either. Right, so that's today's card. So that's the outside. Hope you like that. And the inside is simply like that. And then the other cards, which I shared earlier, look like this. goes there, and then this is today's. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing those, and that you give them a go yourself. So it's very simple, doesn't need a lot of supplies. Of course, if you don't have vellum, you can just use normal double-sided paper. It's really up to you. They're just some simple ideas that you could replicate at home pretty easily. So thank you for joining me. A couple of things I need to share with you. There's because we're beginning of November, so there's new kits in the kit collection. There's some new items in the online store. Next week is a stamping and creating afternoon, and I think that's about it. So thank you for joining me. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.